Credential Guard is a security feature first introduced in Windows 10 Enterprise and Windows Server 2016. It protects user credentials by storing them in a virtualized container that is separate from the operating system. Windows traditionally stored credentials in the local security authority, which uses process memory. But Credential Guard is different. It creates a container called the isolated LSA process, and it's being virtualized using the same hypervisor that Hyper-V uses. An attacking program running on the system with administrative privileges cannot access credentials stored in the isolated LSA process. Now, normally in a remote desktop connection, the target system authenticates the incoming user and then gains access to the user's credentials. In the case of a help desk operator, providing support often requires a remote desktop connection to an unsecured client workstation, and that workstation might already be compromised. And this can result in the operator's credentials being compromised as well. So that's where Remote Credential Guard can help in the hypervisor. It uses redirections using Kerberos authentication requests back to the source system. So because the credentials never reach the target computer, they're not going to be endangered. Let's take a look at how we can enable this in Windows Server 2016 and Windows Hyper-V. Once again, we need to make sure we're using Windows 10 Enterprise and Windows Server 2016 to make this work. So let's go down to the Start button. And from here, we can right-click and choose Run and type in regedit. And there's a lot of different ways in there, but I find that to be the simplest way. From here, we're going to go to the HKey local machine, and then we're going to go to System and Current Control Set. Now we're going to go to Control, and then we're going to scroll down to the LSA container. So we look for LSA, and now we're in the container. So now we're going to right-click and add a new D word. And we're going to call this a whole new name called Disable Restricted Admin. And type it just as you see there. Hit Enter. And we're going to leave the default value at 0. Now we need to do the same thing on the Windows 10 computer, so do that before proceeding to the group policy phase. Let's go ahead and close Registry Editor, and then we'll go ahead and open up Tools and Group Policy Management. From here, we can go ahead and create a new policy or edit an existing one. We need to make sure that the policy is going to be applied to both the server and the computer. So the easiest thing to do is to just go ahead and put this at the top level domain. So we'll go ahead and choose to create a new group policy object and link it here. And we'll just call it restricted access. Go ahead and click OK. And now we will right-click and choose Edit. We're going to go to the Policies, followed by Administrative Templates. Then we're going to open up System. And we'll expand the bar so we can see more things. And we'll go to Credential Delegation. Now we're going to go to Restrict Delegation of Credentials to Remote Servers. We'll expand that, and we'll choose Enabled. Now we'll hit the drop-down list to choose Require Remote Credential Guard. When we're done, we'll click Apply, and then OK. Go ahead and close. Now we can restart the server or just do a GP update/force. We also need to restart the Windows 10 Enterprise computer as well. We'll right-click and go to a command prompt and type GP update/force. And we see that the policy was successfully implemented. And just to make sure that we applied the correct policy and it's applying to our user and computer, let's go ahead and type in GP result/R. That tells us what group policies have been applied. So if we scroll back up to the computer section, we can see that restricted access, the policy we just created, is now an applied group policy object. So we were successful. You can do the same thing on the Windows 10 Enterprise computer as well after either rebooting or running the Force update. Now we have the advantage of making sure that no one can get our credentials in case we remote into a virtual machine that has been compromised by an attacker. Enabling Remote Credential Guard on both the server and client will help keep your compromised workstations and servers from stealing important login data from server administrators in Windows Hyper-V.